So welcome back to episode 14 of the Sense of Time in % tutorial. Last time we left off here in caves, and after either dying or reloading the save, you're in this exact position, and now there are several routes to take. The hardest route, which I'll show first, requires that you have at least 2 sands, otherwise you can't continue afterwards. So if you have 2 or more sands, you can do the zip. For the setup, you stand still, you don't change the initial position, and then you first person aim like this. There's this slightly darker line on the wall, characterized by this darker dot right next to it. It's a bit hard to see at times, but if you know what you're looking for, you will find it, and you have to line up the right side of the first person camera with that exact line. With the first person aim done, the actions for the zip are as follows. First I'll show them off, and then I'll go over them in some detail. First do an awkward small pause, just so the zip starts with a down sword, then sword down sword, dagger, waiting, down sword, and steps. The first jump sword is fast rewinded, the dagger is slow, and the next jump sword is half fast rewinded. That zip sure isn't easy, so let's look at it more detailed. Okay, so parry, wait a bit, jump sword, then sword, jump sword, dagger, pause because there's a rewind speed change in there, jump sword, and steps. Then you fast rewind until the first jump sword is done. You switch to slow rewind. The slow rewinded dagger hits the loading trigger for the corridor you're supposed to land in. The indicator for that is this small flashing white light, which tells you hit the loading trigger. If you miss that, that means your aim was too far left, and the corridor will simply not be loaded. Okay, back to the zip, you're still slow rewinding, and when the camera starts to go up, you switch to fast rewind again, and fast rewind the rest of the zip. If you hit the second loading trigger, which is behind the breakable wall in that corridor below, the save point will disappear. That's the indicator that you hit the second loading trigger. If you missed that one and still survive, that's not a problem, as we'll see later, because we can simply hit that loading trigger manually. And if done correctly, and if you didn't crash, you will land in this corridor with the underground reservoir loaded. Crashing at the zip is quite of a problem. If you aim too far right, you're very likely to crash. Also, for some player, the crashing got resolved by changing the streaming codec in OBS, which should be completely unrelated, and no one really understands what's happening there. So that zip is quite tricky regarding the inputs, the rewind speed changes, and the outcomes. So now I'll present some easier alternatives. Okay, so this route you should do if either the zip I just showed is too hard for you or crashes, or if you have less than 2 sands, then you have to do one of the following routes. Okay, first off, you zip to the sand cloud. You again don't change your position, you just first person aim like this. You line up the right side of the first person screen with the third stalactite. The actions then are dagger, dagger, parry, all fast rewinded. You then should land at this platform and be able to take the sand cloud. Okay, so now you're here with 5 sands, and again there are 2 possible zips to do. One zip which is a bit harder, but not too hard really. And then there's an easier route consisting of 2 zips. Okay, the bit harder zip goes like this. You hang down the ledge at this very stone, and you tap left until the prince kind of changes the direction he's facing in. You then go up, fully zoom in, and the inputs are dagger, jump sword, steps. The first jump sword is only half slow rewinded. You switch to fast rewind as the camera goes up, and then the rest is fast rewinded. If done correctly, you should land in this corridor without dying. The underground reservoir is not loaded, but that's not a problem. We can simply hit the loading trigger by simply touching this wall, and now it's loaded. Okay, if you have trouble with this zip, or it's simply still too hard for you, that's not a problem. There's the second backup route, where you first destroy these vases and barrels. Then you aim somewhere towards that next caves area. There's no precision at all, you hit no triggers, you just want to land inside the area, and the actions are 3 times parry, jump sword, all slow rewinded. Be aware to not scroll too far forwards, because if you get too close to the ledge in front of you, your game will turn black and you'll get the so-called 1 FPS glitch. If done correctly, you should land down here. And to actually get in the corridor, we will do the following easy zip. You wall run, jump off this darker area of the wall. Do a roll forward to set up your position, and after turning around, simply do a fast rewinded double dagger to get into the corridor. On a side note, we don't zip directly through the breakable wall, because if you do so, the game will crash. Here again, you have to manually hit the loading trigger. Okay, no matter which route you did, you should now be in this corridor. If you didn't do the first method and hit the trigger manually, there's a 10 to 15 second cutscene at the entrance of well, so if you have more than one send, it is worth zipping through that cutscene. Otherwise, you can simply roll to where the next zip happens. A possible zip over the cutscene is either a fast rewinded roll, or if you start from far enough back, a fast rewinded double roll. Either way, in the underground reservoir, we set up the next zip by positioning ourselves between those two grass pads on the floor, and you aim so that the brighter right side of this second pillar is lined up with the prince's head. This again is not super precise, but if you're too far off, you will miss the platform you're supposed to land on. The actions then are jump, dagger, dagger, jump. All slow rewinded. In the first jump, you hit the loading trigger for the next area. And when the camera goes up after the two daggers, that means that the jump is done and you can stop the rewind and land in here. Be careful to not overstep too much, because as you see here, if you do so, you might miss the platform. If you're with no sands, which is very likely if you did the hardest route, then you take the sand cloud. Otherwise, you can leave this sand cloud behind and save 3 seconds. Okay, then for the last zip of this episode, this one is really simple. You warren on the left side of this wall, turn around, first person aim like this, line up the right side of the first person cam with the left side of this pillar, and then you do sword dagger, reset camera, do steps and fast rewind. And you then should land in harem. If you crashed on the zip, that means you went too far forward somehow. And if you went too short, that most likely means that you didn't fully rewind the actions. After successfully doing the zip, you take this sand cloud. After walking up here, you have the checkpoint of this area, and this is where we leave off for now. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.